We can throw numbers and facts and figures at you all day long to tell you what the F-16 is like, but the only way to really understand is to go get in the cockpit.
It's one of the sweetest looking jets, one of the most beautiful aircraft out there.
Lieutenant Colonel James Flash Frickle has flown the F-16 for 20 years, but he's had his eye on jets for about as long as he can remember.
Kindergarten, I wanted to be a farmer, and then first grade, from then on, I wanted to be a pilot.
He's the commander of the 466th Fighter Squadron and the pilot taking me up.
It's like putting on snow pants.
There's a pre-flight briefing, then climb into the jet. Pilots say their first flight in the Viper leaves a pretty strong impression.
It handles like a dream. It's a sports car. It's a fighter pilot's dream.
For an aviation enthusiast with a childhood dream of flying in a jet like this, it should leave a pretty big impression on me, too. It's hard to describe that feeling. The Viper can take up to 9 Gs, but Flash didn't push it that high. Even so, that initial pull-up really sets the tone. On our way to the operations area, we flew in formation with Danger, another F-16 pilot. Then a couple of new F-35s formed up on our wing. These are the fighter jets taking the place of all the F-16s at Hill Air Force Base. After a couple of minutes of formation flying, those 35s are gone, and the maneuvers begin. Flash begins with a hard turn to the left, then a harder one to the right. We were pulling G's our camera couldn't quite handle. Then we drop to a few hundred feet off the ground, hundreds of miles per hour, and pull straight up. G-suits prevent too much blood from leaving our brain, so we won't pass out during high-G maneuvers. After about an hour of demonstrating what the F-16 can do in flight, we head back to Hill Air Force Base. It's hard to process everything happening around you during a flight like that. It's not really until after you're back on the ground that you can start to appreciate what you just experienced. One thing I do know is that bag came back empty.
It's back on the ground here inside Hill Air Force Base. It was an amazing ride. No puke in the bag, thankfully. Came down with a clean cockpit. We were pretty lucky because that was one of the last two-seat F-16 rides here at Hill Air Force Base. All the F-16s will be down at Holloman Air Force Base in New Mexico by the end of the month. At Hill Air Force Base, Sean Moody, KSL 5 News.
News specialist Sean Moody explains how the town of Alta and Forest Service workers are trying to meet those challenges.
There's so many varieties of colors of paintbrush. It's unbelievable.
This display has had people coming up to Alta for years.
It's just a kaleidoscope of color. I can't believe it.
These days, though, things are a little busier.
And we have 1,788 as our clicking count right now.
It's gotten to be a challenge.
We're just seeing more and more impacts.
Alta Mayor Tom Pollard wants people to prepare for crowds when they come.
Y'all been up here before?
Over the summertime period from July through September, we'll see almost 100,000 cars on this road.
I've seen over 1,800 cars a day, and I only have 40 spots up there. So
They run a free shuttle between parking areas and trailheads,
it shuttles you right up, drops you off at the Secret Lake Trailhead.
but it's hard to keep something like that going.
And realistically, we can't necessarily do that within the budget that we have here.
It's hard. You can't pick one spot. It's just all like eye candy.
Becky Hotsey is the district ranger for this part of the forest.
I have a lot of work to do.
She spends a lot of time on trails like these, but there's one thing here she hates to see.
This one here is just from this year with people going out there. And
These are spots where people have ventured out into the flowers, likely to take pictures. It really does a number on the soil.
you know, it's a great picture for that 1 year, but then it takes years and years for it to recover.
You'll find worn down spots like this one all up and down Secret Lake Trail, and one of the solutions the Forest Service thinks is to designate a couple of them as photo op areas so they're not popping up all over the trail.
There have been drought years where we have less.
In the meantime, Becky gets the word out on the trail
The not-so-secret Secret Lake?
while more and more people pour in. In Alta, Sean Moody, KSL 5 News. The highlight for fans this weekend might be this limited edition of the very first issue. They're calling it the Cynthiana, Kentucky edition, and it's easy to see why. Now, I'm not a very good substitute for Officer Rick Grimes, but if you put me here and take out all the zombies, you'll see we're right at the intersection of Main and Pike Street. People who live here hope it really puts Cynthiana on the map. The graphic novel starts right here in Cynthiana. People with shops here on the street are getting in the spirit for Saturday's Walking Dead Day activities.
I think it's going to be like Woodstock was in '69.
Steve Ewalt and his mother have gotten Ewalt's jewelers ready.
Well, we've got the baseball bat with the barbed wire up on top.
Much of downtown will be shut down while a huge crowd comes in. No one's sure exactly how big it'll be.
And I've heard anywhere from 5,000 on up to possibly 30,000.
Cynthiana Police Chief Ray Johnson said his department's ready for whatever Saturday brings. They'll have some help from some other agencies and the National Guard.
And you prepare for the worst but hope for the best.
For the Cynthiana Chamber of Commerce, the best would mean big business.
And this is great to bring in a lot of tourism and out-of-town people to see our Cynthiana businesses and how great they are. A lot of people didn't even know that Cynthiana was a real place.
I think it's given Cynthiana something to be proud of, knowing that this, phenomenon that's known as the Walking Dead really started right here.
Back at Ewalt's Jewelers, Steve's just about ready. He'll enjoy the company for the next few days.
He's actually trying to crawl out of his coffin.
Is he making it?
Not making good time, no.
The chamber director said all the events happening out here on Saturday will be free. In Cynthiana, Sean Moody, WKYT. Ryan Martin is looking for a couple of water creatures.
I always look for whatever the biggest fish is. So.
He's still waiting on that first bite, but this isn't just about fish.
I'm more interested in catching Pokemon at this point, yeah.
Yeah, there are other creatures to catch, and they're popping up all over town.
And we caught it. Basically, the more populated areas are where you're more likely to see Pokemon and other people playing Pokemon as well.
So this is kind of how the map's laid out.
Pokemon Go is tied to your phone's GPS. You walk around real-world locations to find the creatures and catch them on your phone screen. It's easy to see why this game is so popular. It's just so darn engrossing. You're sitting here obsessed with your phone when all of a sudden it's like you're right in the middle of the game. In fact, it's actually started to become an issue at some Lexington businesses.
And they're kind of wandering into the restaurant at our busiest hours.
Palmer's and Lexington Green had to put up a no Pokemon Go players sign. Some of the creatures tend to pop up in their dining area, so players were just following them right in.
So we had somebody try to walk in the kitchen. We've had people standing right in front of people eating, and in places that really are making it difficult for us to get through.
Even some of the workers and their families have gotten in on it.
My brother came in here to eat, and I saw him playing the game, and I was like, oh.
Now, for the most part, the Pokemon players are being considerate. They're enjoying meeting up with other people who share their passion.
It's actually unbelievable how many people you see doing this.
In fact, Ryan said it's getting hard to choose between Pokemon and the old rod and reel.
Because the Pokemon are always there, the fish aren't there.
In Lexington, Sean Moody, WKYT. Good morning, happy weekend to you. It is Saturday, July 25th. I'm Sean Moody.
Good morning, I'm Michelle Chamberlain, and we have another beautiful day, I hope.
Yeah, it sounds that way. Keep that streak rolling. Let's check in with Mike. All right, Mike, thank you. We're tracking a developing story out of Lexington this morning. Police say just a few hours ago, a man walked into a hotel and then robbed it. About 100 people rallied on the steps of the Capitol on Friday to protest the possible removal of a controversial statue of a Confederate leader. New this morning, we are tracking a developing story out of Louisville. That's where police say 2 people have died and 3 are still missing after a boat crash during the city's 4th of July festivities. And Louisville and state officials are giving mixed reactions out of yesterday's purchase of Humana insurance. Investigators say they figured out where that skull found on a Franklin County farm earlier this week came from.
Put your coupon on there?
Everybody's got their traditions.
We just got started, so this is our first stop.
Laura Bushman and her family spent Black Friday hunting for just the right items.
My daughter has Thanksgiving every year, so we go Black Friday. That's our annual thing with the girls every Black Friday now.
It's one way to get some family bonding in.
Did you get a new purse today?
Along with all the other families.
I'm really surprised it's gone really fast. It was long, but it's going really fast.
As they head on to the next store,
let's go to the next stop.
Others head a little further out.
We've had such a wonderful week of weather this week.
Betsy Pollock and her family do Black Friday a little differently.
And no shopping, right, yeah.
They're part of a growing movement embraced by stores like REI. They closed their doors today and urge customers to opt outside, spending the day enjoying the outdoors with family.
I think that's great. Give your employees a holiday as well. Let them have several days to take time off with their families and maybe calm down the frenzy just a little bit.
Seems like the idea is catching on. The Bonneville Shoreline Trail was packed.
I mean, look at this. I bet I could count 30 or 40 if I started. Look at it all over there.
Just biking and enjoying the weather.
Isaac Anderson and his family spent the afternoon on two wheels, far from the shopping frenzy.
That's too much just to get one simple thing that you don't exactly really need.
As they swap the stores for the trails, these families hope to see that shift continue.
Maybe it's a movement back to family, back to the heart, back to being together. Well, there isn't much that's more important to me than my family. I mean, like nothing.
It's the dawn of a new football season.
This is our first game, so it's going to be kind of a test.
An opening game different from any other year at Timpview High School with limited crowd capacity.
They're all going to seniors, but we can only fit 100.
And tickets for only parents of football players and cheerleaders.
And they'll have assigned seating.
Timpview faculty spent 40 hours organizing the system.
So we had to kind of think outside the box just to prep, the stadium.
Administrators used rulers on the bleachers while placing stickers for each of the 650 fans who will be allowed under the Friday night lights.
There are signs everywhere. We've printed so many signs for social distancing.
It may be different, but it is happening. And that's exciting for many students who didn't know if they would get to go to a high school football game their senior year.
You don't realize how important the little things in your life are until you can't do them anymore.
Timpview Principal Montero says this is building character for the students.
That's part of our mission as a school, is to teach our students growth and to teach them excellence, and they're stepping up.
Come on, Aiden, let's take a look.
12-year-old Aiden loves stuffed animals.
Who's this? That is Nale.
Especially teddy bears.
You want to feel how soft? That guy?
So a visit to Build-A-Bear at Fashion Place Mall is a dream come true.
I kind of like those ones.
Choosing a bear is hard, though. But eventually,
okay, I want this one.
Aiden found the perfect one.
It's fuzzy. It's beautiful and softy.
Bringing a bear to life is a process. It needs a sound.
Where's a bear sound?
Fluff. And of course,
shake it up.
A heartbeat. But most importantly, it needs a piece of you.
Close your eyes, make a wish, and when you're ready, we can put it right in there.
While this teddy now holds one of Aiden's secret wishes, he has another wish that isn't a secret: to be a part of a forever family.
Aiden is one of the sweetest kids. He's so thoughtful.
Stacey Littlewood is Aiden's Youth Connections advocate with Raise the Future.
Eden needs a family that is willing to work through the hard times with him. Not give up on him, love him unconditionally, and just be the biggest support for him.
Aiden has been adopted once before, only to come back into foster care.
I know there's that feeling of rejection. I think that's why, he attaches quickly and hopes, and he really wants people to love him and care about him, and he wants to be part of a family very badly.
Aiden has a big personality, and he loves to be active.
So Aiden loves playing outside. Every time I go to visit him, he's riding on his scooter or his bike or skateboarding around.
Stacey says Aiden would do well with siblings. He's been separated from two of his own.
I think he would love siblings. He would love animals.
Aiden has resources that are already in place to help him as he grows. But what he needs now, just like his teddy, is a loving family.
He's pretty easygoing and just really attaches quickly and loves hard. And so I think finding somebody who will support him and just guide him through this world and love him unconditionally is so important.
If you commute through Salt Lake City, you know that sound. That's the front runner heading south toward downtown. This is the Woods Cross area in North Salt Lake. Saturday morning, things looked a little different here.
Oh, I heard the loud crash and came up here and looked at there was just the semi sitting on sideways with the trailer split up.
Chris Holder manages a metal shop nearby.
Train came through it this direction.
And you're about to see what he heard.
Just wondering if everybody is okay.
This is video from a North Salt Lake police cruiser. There are 2 FedEx trucks driving through that crossing. The arms are up, there are no flashing lights, no warning about this.
From a dash cam is a very shocking video, an unprecedented incident, an accident at UTA.
UTA's Chief Safety Officer Dave Garris says their police department is trying to figure out what happened.
We will discover why and prevent that from happening again.
Now, these crossing arms are designed to go to the down position if there's any kind of a problem. That happened for about 12 minutes that morning, but for whatever reason, these arms went back up, leaving that crossing unprotected. Garris said the weather Saturday likely created the issue with the crossing arms.
We had the blizzard Saturday morning, very heavy snow. Because of that and salt conditions, that mixture at times can actually short out the track. And that's what happened in this instance, which dropped the gates.
He said the driver had no clue the train was coming until it was too late.
The statement that we have is that he looked, because of the snow and conditions, he could not see a train, witnessed the train just immediately prior to the impact.
Ripped it all apart.
Chris, back at the shop, said this incident illustrates why he doesn't rely just on those gates.
We shouldn't rely 100% on those crossing guards. We should, especially semis, should be checking those.
In Davis County, Sean Moody, KSL 5 News.
Good boy, I got you.
For most people, a work trip doesn't look quite like this. But for these avalanche dogs and their handlers, this is the perfect training ground.
Let's go powder skiing.
Wasatch Backcountry Rescue is holding their annual International Dog School at Alta Ski Area this week.
Come on, Reagan! Woo! Come on, Ray, let's go!
Avalanche dogs and their handlers from resorts across the country and even as far as Poland are here to improve their skills.
I know you're gonna want some food. Oh, you hungry? Oh, you want some cheeseburger? Oh, you're a good girl. Oh, what did I get?
Michael Currid brought 2-year-old Reagan here from Keystone, Colorado.
The dogs know what to do. It's us that need to learn.
Thanks to these guys helping me out. Sorry, catching breath.
Jake Mortensen has been training Lando since he handpicked the German Shepherd pup.
He was just a little fluff ball, looked like a bear cub. He came running and just landed on my chest and just started licking my face. I was like, I'm done. I figured it out.
Avalanche danger here in northern Utah is expected to shoot up as that snowstorm comes through in the next couple of days. No one ever wants to find themselves in that situation. The skills these pups and their handlers learn here in Little Cottonwood Canyon could be the difference between life and death for an unlucky skier down the road.
These guys are, other than the party that you're skiing with, this is really the next best bet.
I believe it.
And on days when the snow is a bit more mellow, it's hard to beat a partnership like this.
And you get to have your best friend with you at work. As cliche as it sounds, it's a pretty cool thing.